I feel like that when I did return to, theater, and I hadn't been in theater in New York, it was mostly in Chicago.
Yeah.
So that when I did try theater in New York, I think I did have kind of a target on my ass about coming from TV. So I think I think I had to prove myself when I first came to New York
Mhm.
as, not just this crazy character on a TV show.
When you think of Laurie Metcalf, you probably think of this.
I'm 36 years old, I've got flabby arm and pelican neck, and all my house plants are dead and no one loves me. But what difference does that make anyway? Because everything in my life sucks!
She played Aunt Jackie on Roseanne for 9 seasons, and then again on The Conners. She won countless awards for her performance, and she is embedded in our brains in popular culture as Aunt Jackie, which is why it's so surprising that after playing Aunt Jackie for all those years and making that kind of imprint on popular culture, she's now regarded as the first lady of theater. Just this year alone, she had 2 plays in consideration for Tony nominations, Little Bear Ridge Road and Death of a Salesman. And then when the Tony nominations came out, she was nominated for Death of a Salesman. Now, that is her 7th Tony nomination. She's already won 2 before this. She is unstoppable when it comes to a live theatrical performance. Watching her in a play is like watching a craftsman build something that you've never seen before. She is just, if you get an opportunity to see Laurie Metcalf live, take it. Spend the money, do what you have to do, because it is an experience that you will remember for the rest of your life. I've been so lucky to have had that experience, and I really hope you get to someday, which is why I was so excited to be able to get to chat with Laurie Metcalf about why I find her so fascinating. And she is my guest on today's episode of The Parting Shot. Now, I've been wanting to speak with Laurie Metcalf for ever, since I was a kid. I've been obsessed with this woman since I was a kid. I knew she was a great actress, of course, and I had seen her in other things outside of Roseanne, but it's this later part in her career that has really just blown me away. I mean, think of these numbers. Okay, so she's received 12 Emmy nominations over the course of her career. She's won 4. She's received an Academy Award nomination, which was just one of those years because she was up against Allison Janney and 2 queens of television, and it was very hard. It tore the gay community apart, and I told her that. We had a little chat about just that moment in my conversation with her today. And then, of course, like I said, she's had 7 Tony nominations. She is just one of those people that, even talking with her, you can tell that she's such an artist because she thinks about acting in a way that isn't about fame. I mean, fame is a byproduct of her talent because her talent is just so unstoppable. And what I find so interesting is she's so self-aware that playing Aunt Jackie for all those years and doing all those crazy episodes and everything really should have prevented her, stopped her from having this kind of Broadway career that she's had. And we talked about that too, about how she navigated from her television work into her theater work and how she feels about sort of the legacy of Aunt Jackie. And of course, what it's like to work with Nathan Lane in Death of a Salesman. So I'm going to shut up because I just think we need to get to my chat with Laurie Metcalf. This was one of the biggest honors I've ever had ever in my life. And the fact that in the span of 1 week, you're getting episodes from me, from Sally Field and Laurie Metcalf, little kid me the brain is exploding. I can't believe that I get to do this for a living. It is very, very exciting. So sit back and grab a snack because I will be right back with Laurie Metcalf. Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Good.
It is such a pleasure to meet you. You have no idea how honored
Thank you.
I am to be able to be chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
I have been a fan of yours, obviously, for a long time, but I also have been, well, wanting to speak with you for a long time with so much of the amazing work you've been doing over the past recent years. So, like this happening, as soon as it was brought to me, I was immediately like, yes, 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 everything, anything she wants. It's a real, real honor.
I've been very lucky to be doing a ton of theater work,
Yeah, yeah,
which
and
I love.
yes, and that, I mean, well, obviously, my first real question is, you have 2 shows up for Tony consideration, and you also have multiple outside of theater, you have multiple projects up for Emmy consideration. So my real first question is, do you not like taking breaks?
I do not like taking breaks, so this was a wonderful year for me, but I mean, these kind of years are few and far between.
Yeah.
So, when it rains, it pours. That's basically what happened this past year and a half.
Yeah, and it has poured for you
Yeah,
with
it poured. Yes, I was caught in a downpour. Yeah, I'm soaking wet. What can I say? Uh,
You really are. Well, let's start with Death of a Salesman because that's the one everyone's talking about right now. And when it was announced that you and Nathan Lane would be paired in this show, I think anyone who loves plays, anyone who loves theater, anyone who loves Broadway immediately had a little tingle inside because you two are icons of theater. And so what is it about the pairing, do you think, of the two of you in this show that made us, people like me, so excited?
well, Nathan and I had only worked together once before, and that was in a David Mamet play called November, and that's been ages and ages ago. But, I came up in theater in Illinois, so I have known of Nathan for forever, decades and decades, but I didn't meet him until that play. Um, so I was working with this icon, and then, I started to do more and more theater around town. And so finally I got, on the New York theater radar. And to be paired up with him, Nathan is like the ultimate scene partner.
Mm,
You want somebody who is quick on their feet and ultra reliable. And it's hard to think of anybody better at that than Nathan.
mm,
He is such a solid partner with you up there that it takes away a lot of the jitters. Um, he's just so dependable. And we share a sense of humor about stuff. So it makes a really fun rehearsal room despite the nature of this heavy drama. I don't want to call it heavy drama because there actually are some laughs in it. I
yeah,
was gonna say a handful, more than a handful.
yeah.
Um, but it's been an honor to, share the stage with him.
Mm,
And it's funny too, because when I went back and looked at the play on paper, it's really a father-son
mhm,
dynamic that's happening, and he and I don't really do all that much together. But what there is, I we open first act and second act together. So I just get to be out there, by myself just with him, and, I didn't even get really wasn't able to have that much of him to myself in November, in
mm,
the play November. So I'm really cherishing these times on stage with him.
yeah. Well, you mentioned jitters. I mean, I can't imagine someone like you getting jitters with the resume that you have. Do you still get those?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. All through previews.
Mm,
Yeah. It's a fear of not quite knowing what you have until the audiences teach you the last missing puzzle piece of what you have.
mhm,
And, a honest panic about going up on lines because I drill and drill and drill before and after and during and drill and drill and drill, but, it happens and I'm terrified of it happening because I'm not very good at getting myself out of the situation.
oh.
If I was a good, maybe improviser or something, I wouldn't worry so much about it, but I'm like, I come to a dead standstill
Mm,
and I need, scene partner help to get me out of wherever I messed up.
yeah.
But, so yeah, I've always had jitters. This is interesting. I have more jitters though in front of a camera.
Oh,
I have
interesting.
less so, in front of, 1,500 live people in
Why is that, do you think?
that. I don't know. It's a little mental because also with a camera, if you do go up on your lines, like I was just describing that I'm afraid of, you just start over again. It's no big deal, and it's gonna happen,
Mm,
but I just feel more relaxed and comfortable live,
mm,
live on a stage.
interesting.
Mm, yeah, I feel way more prepared. That's a given because you've spent 3 or 4 weeks in a rehearsal room, honing your part of the story.
Mhm,
So I feel grounded and secure in what and how I want to do the part.
mhm.
And I feel way under rehearsed in most everything I've done on film or tape.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so with Death of a Salesman and also, I would argue too, Little Bear Bridge Road, I feel like both of those shows say something about where we are in the country right now in a lot of ways. If for in different ways, obviously, from both shows. But I feel like thematically, Broadway right now and plays in particular and the shows that you're doing are saying something. They actually have a message for the state of, I think, the world in a lot of ways. And I'll start with Death of a Salesman. What do you for you, what do you think it says about where we are? And why is this play now, I think, probably I think more relevant than other versions of it in recent
I
years?
I don't know. As far as our version, I'm not sure. I've never seen another version, and I know that people tell me afterwards that they're hearing certain lines in a new light. So I can't speak to that, but I know that for the 75 years that it's been around, it hits audiences differently you know, in the 50s and then again in the 60s. Oh, now we're in the 70s and things are resonating in different ways. It's still the father-son strong theme in there, but the financial problems
Yeah.
that are in there and the confusion about what I did everything right and by the books. Why aren't I further along? Somebody tell me. I can't make any sense out of it to me really lands with me when I sit backstage and listen to it every night. It was I forget that how risque it was
Yeah.
when it first opened. The boys are talking about girls in a way, that is, I mean, very coarse. And then, you have the father, being found, in for people that know,
Yeah.
where he's found.
Yeah.
But, and those were on a stage
Mm,
in 1950, I'm sure were so so that part of the maybe, shock value is lost on our audience the way it would have been on a previous audience,
mhm.
but everything else I think is still hitting home. And in Little Bear, I know that Sam Hunter, the playwright, wanted to write about people who are struggling with money
Mhm,
in a really, really realistic way.
mhm.
That was one of the reasons that he, picked those 2 characters to be together.
Yeah. Well, and that and with with Little Bear, I think in a lot of ways, yes, there's the money component too, but also, film and television haven't been able to capture the trauma of COVID, I think,
Mm,
in a way that theater has been. And I think because theater, yes, film and television was hurt, but listen, they're still making billions of dollars. It was theater that like really was hurt by COVID because it is fundamentally a live in-person thing. And so to have a play that sort of takes the themes of COVID and the isolation of COVID and the trauma of COVID, I think Broadway has been able to speak to that trauma better than other fields of entertainment in a lot of ways. So I wanted to get your take on that, but also the impact of Little Bear and how do you think audiences received it from those messages?
Mm. Well, I think Sam said it during the outbreak of COVID and the 2 years following. Um, I he was so smart about it because he actually used it as a plot point.
Mhm.
The nephew shows up with a mask on, and so we immediately are, I think as an audience might be a little bit triggered, like, "Oh, is this gonna be all about this?" But it was just, he used it as a way to, force these 2 people to live together for the next 2 years,
Mhm.
and that jobs are scarce, and, you're just on top of each other, and you're just watching TV, that's all you're doing.
Mhm.
There's everybody's stalled out, and there's no progress being made. So even though we never like even referred to COVID in it, I don't think,
Yeah.
except that he shows up in a mask. It was a great device to have looming over the show, but it was really used as the perfect device to glue them together,
Yeah.
whether they wanted it or not. Um, Yeah, I remember for real in March of 2020, I was 9 previews into, a little play called Who's Afraid of Virginia
Oh,
Woolf,
just a tiny one, small.
which tried to kill me,
Yeah.
and, uh, and Broadway shut down, and, we thought we'd have 2 weeks off and come
Mm.
back.
Yeah.
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 Um, yeah, and then, uh, I think then we went back I went back to, the Connors, I guess, and it was,
Uh-huh.
like, one of the very first things back, and, I mean, I'm remembering now, it's not been that long ago, but I'm forgetting, the testing every day and, that was driving production costs through the roof
Yeah.
for all the medical things that everybody had to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, yeah, really took a hit on that one, but, it was a very scary, uns shaky, unpredictable time, but
Well,
I thought that Sam really used it well.
and also too, I think one of the reasons why I think we as audiences go to your shows and watch your projects on television is because there is an intimacy to the work that you do, particularly Broadway or theater and television. There's in theater, obviously, it's live, and in television, it's in our homes. I'm seeing you up close. So we have this very intimate relationship with you. And so then for you then to talk about these things on stage or show these characters on stage living those experiences that we're also living in that moment, it's that in some way I think it makes it deeper. You know what I mean? Like we have a relationship with you an actor that we don't have with like I don't know, I don't see Angelina Jolie on a couch. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't but I could see me sitting on the couch with you. That's what I'm saying.
I Yeah, I could see Aunt Jackie vacuuming furiously around that couch
Yeah.
and being really, really mad that she's being distracted by anybody. Like, just everybody get the hell away from me.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, but what do you think it is about this with everything you're doing with both the Broadway shows that are up for consideration, but also your television work, like now with Big Mistakes, it's another in a long list of amazing television work. Like, what do you think it is about that intimate relationship that we have with you that makes then the character that you're playing, I don't know, almost it for us, it makes it more real.
Well, are you talking about an intimate relationship that stems from knowing me for so long, like,
Yeah.
from back in the Roseanne days? I mean, growing up,
Well, still,
knowing,
yes.
that character? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
reruns, yeah. I when I first got that part, I I knew that Roseanne was so good and so popular that this pilot had I'd never done TV before,
Mm,
but I had an inkling that this thing would have really a lot of legs, that
mhm,
this thing could run for a long time because of her.
mhm,
And it crossed my mind, like, do I want to get, um, y you know, do I wanna be on a show do I wanna be typecast?
Yeah.
Do I wanna spend 9 years doing one part, and it's a broad part, 'cause it's like 3rd banana down, and that's the character that's my sweet spot, by the way. I love that, that level
Yeah.
because, it's pretty broad. They can't use you too much because it's just too much. And so you come in, you get your laughs and you get out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But also because of the broadness, I thought, these characters get stereotyped.
Mhm.
Do I want am I gonna be able to go back to my first love, theater, and have people not look at me just as from that show?
Mhm.
So, that was a consideration that I had for 1 second until the casting directors told me I was out of my mind and that I should, obviously take the part.
Yeah.
But I feel like that when I did return to, theater, and I hadn't been in theater in New York, it was mostly in Chicago,
Yeah.
so that when I did try theater in New York, I think I did have kind of a, uh target on my ass about coming from TV because nobody knew me from Steppenwolf, where I had done most of my acting work.
Yeah.
So I think I think I had to prove myself when I first came to New York
Mhm.
as, not just this crazy character on a TV show.
Yeah. How do you think you did? I mean, because that was something I was thinking about, is that it's really hard to move on from a character like that that is so cultural defining. I mean, yes, Roseanne's character was, and of course, John Goodman with Dan, but Aunt
Right,
Jackie, more so,
right.
more than anything, is on T-shirts. She's memed. She is a cultural icon in a lot of ways. Then for you to be able to move on from that and do the work that you're doing now and over the past however many years in theater, and it's kind of mind-blowing, and it really is a testament to you as an actor, I think, in a lot of ways.
Well, I have to give it over to audiences who did grow up on that show because if for them to be able to divorce, mm, Linda Lohman from Aunt Jackie
Yeah.
is probably, if you've really, really grown up on the show, a little bit hard to do.
Yeah.
So I gotta give a lot of props and thanks to the audiences that are able to do that.
Yeah. Well, I can't, and I will say, and I need to ask you this too, just my last one on Aunt Jackie, because I need to know. Do you know how big of a cultural impact your performance as Aunt Jackie has had on, particularly millennials, myself, that it has it is just so cultural defining for us. She is a figure that has grown to become sort of our own sort of representative in a lot of ways for, like, that single woman who's just trying to get by, and she's living in the
Right.
shadow of her sister and all of those things. Do you understand how big of an impact she's had?
Well, I guess when you're pointing I didn't, but when you're pointing out that she's like I I think of her as kind of like a victim, but with an attitude.
Yeah.
She 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 she'll never give up trying, but there's always, something else that happened. She didn't always quite take responsibility for all the mistakes that she's made along the way, but
Yeah.
I just find it's funny that to be able to grow for 9 seasons with a character that really, really, really good writers stand out and look at and can see what this actor's strengths are, and then start writing in to those strengths. And then that cements like a really strong character because they're highlighting what they think comedically you do best.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I think I can see what you mean as her being identifiable. I like that she just, like, it's kind of with her, like, the show must go on. We're just gonna keep moving forward.
Yeah. Which is kind of you in a lot of ways too.
I guess so.
I mean, to be able to go, and then I will say to that, like, to exactly what you're saying, to speaking to your comedic ability, were you surprised at the level of comedy you're capable of? Because you do have that background in theater, in Steppenwolf. Like, were you surprised that you are so funny?
I think coming up in Steppenwolf specifically, we were all the same age. We all got together. There were like 7 of us because we had the same sense of humor. And mostly what we did was try and crack each other up.
Mhm.
We were working on plays, but well, we tried to make each other cry too in the play, but mostly it was to, like, spin a line in a funny way or do, something physically funny that would that your fellow actors who you revered, your peers who you were learning how to act with, although you didn't know that at the time, that they would think was, was funny and valuable and that they would appreciate, you know?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's a great training ground for being funny, I guess, like, understanding,
I
you can.
guess it was.
Yeah, I mean, but then so I went, and I'll wrap things up with this, that, one of the things that I think I found so impressive about you as an actor, I've seen a lot of your theater work, but of course I've seen a lot of your television work as well, and all of your work I've seen. And it's so interesting to me that you after Roseanne, you did go back in the theater. You could have easily gone in the direction of trying to get your own sitcom where you're the star, or you could have gone in that direction and probably had a very good career, but you focused on characters, and you were always a character actor, but now, particularly even on television with, I'll say, big mistakes right now, but also your performance this season in Hacks, in that one episode, I screamed. I don't want to give away much because people won't see it until after this, but oh my God, I screamed when I saw you. And your your character work is just so insanely strong that do you consider yourself a character actor? And do you hope to be sort of maybe even remembered as a character actor?
Yeah, I guess I would. I think that that's definitely what I am. I gravitate toward those. I mean, I like being the engine of a show, say in Little Bear. I like being, the co-partner and driving a lot of the scenes and being out there the whole time. But I also really, really get a different enjoyment out of being a supporting character. There's something very fulfilling about knowing how and when and exactly how to balance out a scene when you're second or third lead, I guess. Or no, I mean, not even, like Hacks, how to just come in and, um, try and read the situation. Those little parts where cameos where you just come in and plop, you're just there, and then boom, you're gone again the next day. But to read, this get a handle on the situation and see what you can bring, like, where should my energy level come in to match these people? And what can I add, just my little drop before they kick me out tomorrow? Where can I be supportive? I find that just as cool of a challenge in acting to find out where, like, the best way to support the other actor and the scene itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do it so well. It's it's really a masterclass to watch. I also have to say, I can't have this moment and not tell you this. I don't know if you know this. You probably don't because you're very busy and you're a very professional actor and that's what you do and you should stay in that lane. You shouldn't know this. But there are a lot of homosexuals who quite literally lost their minds the year that you were up for an Academy Award, and it was two television icons that we love, Allison Janney and you, up for the Oscar, and it was between the two of you.
Do you know how that polarized the gay community? Do you know? Do you know how angry? Literally, we're still fighting about it, about who should have won, like the way you two polarized the community.
That is so funny. Allison would love that. I hope she knows that.
Oh,
Oh my God, that's so funny.
it is
So-
accurate, and I was very team Laurie. I love Allison, but
yeah,
always.
that is so funny. That's a huge compliment. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
If I'm going to be polarizing to somewhere, that's where I want to be.
Well, Laurie, it is such an honor being able to chat with you. You've been so special in my life over the years. And from growing up with Roseanne, Roseanne had such an impact on me, but Aunt Jackie, that character, had such an impact on me because in a lot of ways it taught me that you don't have to be the center of attention to be something. And that's Aunt Jackie in a lot of ways.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
and it's just such a real special treat to be able to spend this time with you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you.
you.
And I hope
This was fun.
I hope to do it in person someday soon.
Yes.
That would be
Yeah,
lovely.
please.
That would be
Okay.
lovely. Wonderful.
Yes.
Have a great one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No words, no words, speechless. For once in my life, I am speechless. That conversation, that's how I feel. That's the word that I have for it. It's just a big exhale. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode of the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Leave a rating and review wherever you're listening or watching this. You can follow me at H. Allen Scott on everything. Please go see Laurie Metcalf live. Like I said, if you ever get the opportunity, do it because it is a special, special experience. And watch something fun today and have a good one.